If what you want is a safe and predictable reading life, do not touch these books. That's my bookshelf, and there are 4 books on there that I finished recently that made me pause and go,
what the fuck?
This video is part of a series where I talk about books that I have actually read, and I'm not looking at anyone in particular here. And to be completely honest with you, I still don't know whether those 4 books are works of genius or just aggressively weird, because there are so many types of weird, right? There's the kid that eats glue sticks, or the guy that bites off his fingernails and keeps them in his drawer and hopes desperately that his girlfriend who's staying with her doesn't mind them. So today we're gonna look at those 4 different books and the 4 different types of weird that they are, and as usual, there are gonna be no spoilers at all. Pinball 1973 by Haruki Murakami.
Haruki.
And just literature aside, this is a really interesting book because it's actually Murakami's second ever novel. And we can totally see it, because whenever we read a Murakami, don't we just have an inbuilt expectation of what it's going to be like? A certain kind of psychological, magical realism, talking cats, raining fish, that kind of thing. Well, this book is like the pre-adolescent version of that. I don't know if you know this. Murakami used to run a jazz club before he became a novelist. And he started writing because he had an epiphany at a baseball game one day. It's a very Murakami origin story. And he wrote this book sitting at his kitchen table in the early hours of the morning after he finished for the night. And that's why he dubs this book, as well as Hear the Wind Sing, his kitchen table novellas. And those 2, along with A Wild Sheep Chase, form the trilogy of the Rat. Again, very Murakami, right? Pinball 1973 is a meditation on loneliness and nostalgia and that hollow comfort of consumer objects. And as far as I can tell, the only personality trait the protagonist has is that he drinks a lot of beer and the lucky bugger gets to sleep with twins.
Nice. Nice, guys. High five that.
Also, he develops like an unhealthy obsession with a very specific 3-flipper pinball machine. And honestly, this book, it was kind of frustrating because it didn't give me what I felt it owed me, which is kind of the point, right? The hollow comfort of consumer objects. And so I was just left with, is it genius or is it just what the in a very Murakami kind of way? Next we have Here I Am by Jonathan Safran, Foer. And honestly, your hands are gonna sweat so much as you read this. Just look at how frayed it's become. And if you read it on a Kindle or Kobo, hell, that device is going to start sweating too. The experience of reading this was like, it's like trying to cross a 6-lane highway where all the cars are conversations. I have no idea how Foer manages to do this, but he creates a sense of all the characters talking over each other. It's crazy. Foer is working in a tradition, although can we call it a tradition? He writes in a style that the critic James Wood calls hysterical realism. Translation, it's like your fast-talking Jewish friend is explaining to you a non-argument they had with their mother. Actually, now that I think about it, it's quite a relevant book to pick up and read today because it mashes the neurotic micro of a family falling apart in New York City with the unbelievable macro of a crazy, once-in-a-lifetime geopolitical event that's happening out there in the Middle East. Foer somehow manages to capture that chaotic totality of modern life where everything seems to be happening all at once and all we can do is just about keep our head above the water. What the f***? Seriously, how is Foer holding all of this together? I'll just say the name, and I probably won't have to explain anymore. The Jewish, Japanese Sex and Cookbook and How to Raise Wolves by Jack Douglas. The Reddit meme book, part of it has aged like milk on a radiator. It was written in 1972 after all, but it is just pure, unadulterated chaos, fun for fun's sake. And the thing is, Douglas's day job was, he was a comedy writer for Bob Hope.
Down in Texas, you know, they get the Aggies, which is really the of Texas, the Aggies. One guy said, you know how the Aggies would have handled Watergate? I said, no. He said, the same way.
And his shtick was rapid fire non sequitur. So this book kind of has a stand-up cadence to it. Basically, a guy buys a wolf and he tries to domesticate it. Then he realizes that this is actually an impossible job. So he decides to rewild the wolf and takes his whole family on a road trip into the middle of nowhere to do so. It is very what the f for obvious reasons, not least because by today's standards, it is solidly racist, sexist, homophobic, with the best of them. And whether Jack Douglas intended this or not, but by leaning so hard into the meaningless fun and nonsense, the Jewish-Japanese sex and cookbook and how to raise wolves surfaces some really profound truths about life. Namely, that we just can't take life so damn seriously. And when that revelation hits you, it's striking. This next book is one of the best things I have ever read. It is Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor, translated by Sophie Hughes. This book is just a breathless torrent of drugs, misogyny, poverty, murder.
Oh, that's nice.
That blends somehow folklore with realism. It reads like a suffocating fever dream with paragraphs literally as long as chapters and a voice that is, it's like paranoid and frantic neighborhood gossip. Plot-wise, it's a simple, straightforward whodunit. The witch is dead. Yes, there's a witch in it. They found the body. How did it happen? But it's the stylistic immersion. It's just so aggressive. It feels like a moral pressure reading it. It's a genuinely oppressive experience. As I said, there are no paragraph breaks. You can't come up for air. What the f is Melchor trying to torture me? And how the hell did Sophie Hughes manage to translate it so faithfully? It's the definition of beautiful agony. And also, it's a really small book. It's a half-a-day read that will stay with you for a lifetime. If what you want is a safe and predictable reading life, do not touch these books. Just stick to your usual TikTok brain rot recommendations. But if you're in the mood to have your limits tested, I strongly urge you to give one of these a try. They all offer a uniquely what the f experience that will have you swinging wildly from, is this genius, to why am I doing this to myself? Oh, and finally, don't forget to tell me what your most what the book was.
Like, share, subscribe.